Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing latest everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. And today, wow, we've gotten a lot of crazy reveals these past few weeks, just with both Telltale and Transformers stuff. Last week, of course, we got the big reveal on The Wolf Among Us 2. We got our first ever gameplay trailer, and of course, the news that The Wolf Among Us 2 will finally be releasing next year in some point in 2023. But literally yesterday, Hasbro announced alongside, I believe it was Nickelodeon or just Paramount in general, that we got our first announcement and proper reveal for a new Transformers show that will be premiering this fall called Transformers EarthSpark. And honestly, from the look of it alone and knowing the people that are working on this show, I honestly say I'm really excited for Transformers EarthSpark. So we're going to go ahead and just talk about everything that's just happened in this reveal and basically everything you need to know about this new show, what it's about, who you can expect is working on it, so like you can kind of get a feel to what the show is going to be like, and then so on and so on. So if you're excited to see it, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the story of Transformers EarthSpark actually dates back all the way to about May of last year in 2021, when Nickelodeon actually announced that they were working with Hasbro to create a new Transformers series. I believe it was either, I didn't think it was actually May, I think it was actually around this time last year, back in February 2021, when Nickelodeon announced they'd be working with Hasbro to create this show. Now, as far as I know, this also means that Cartoon Network no longer has the primary rights to Transformers cartoons. As you remember, for the past almost 20 years now, Cartoon Network has had the primary right to Transformers. They showed the Unicron trilogy on Cartoon Network. They showed animated Robots in the Skies 2015, and most recently Cyberverse. The only Transformers show that they didn't show or didn't have the rights to on Cartoon Network was Transformers Prime back in 2010, Rescue Bots, and then the most recent Rescue Bots Academy, which just wrapped up last year. And so, but I'm really interested to see how Nickelodeon is going to be handling the Transformers show, especially considering that their history with other animated shows like the 2012 Ninja Turtles series, even the most recent Rise of Ninja Turtles series, is a little bit iffy, to say the least. I mean, obviously their main stuff they push a lot, like Loud House, SpongeBob, and so on, but they don't have the best track record with licensed properties like the Ninja Turtles, as I stated earlier. So we'll have to wait and see if Transformers EarthSpark hopefully gets more advertising and like just marketing than Cyberverse and other Transformers cartoons back on Cartoon Network did. We'll just have to wait and see for that. It was also during this reveal back in February of 2021 where we got essentially our early premise for what the show would be about. All we knew at the time was that Hasbro was working with Nickelodeon to produce a 26-episode Transformers cartoon, which, to be clear, that is currently still the plan for Transformers EarthSpark. They announced, when they properly revealed it yesterday, that EarthSpark is still currently only planned to be at least 26 episodes long. They may get a Season 2 if Season 1 does well, or maybe halfway through Season 1, they'll say, oh, now we're making EarthSpark Season 2, but for now, we can assume that it will only be a one-season show, which I'm pretty sure they'll make us at least a Season 2 of it, considering other shows, but just head warning, don't take this like as word of God. It may just only get one season, but hopefully that won't be the case. In addition to that, we also got from this reveal basically who is going to be like the head of this Transformers show. We know that the show is being headed by Ant Ward, who may recognize as the creator of Rise of the Ninja Turtles, which is honestly something that I'm sure a lot of people are excited about. I remember watching the first few episodes of Rise of the Ninja Turtles back in like early 2018 when this show first came out, but I haven't actually picked up the series yet. I've been meaning to watch it for about years now, and as someone who was a huge fan of the 2003 and 2012 Ninja Turtle shows, the 2012 one especially, I've been meaning to watch Rise of Ninja Turtles. It's just that I just never gotten around to it, and hopefully maybe I'll actually just jump back into it before the finale movie comes out later. Alongside Ant Ward, it's also being produced by Nicole Dubuck, who you may recognize as the creator of Transformers Rescue Bots. But before you go ahead and just start panicking now because the creator of Transformers Rescue Bots on the show, that's going to be a really kid-friendly show, keep in mind she's also been the writer for several episodes of other Transformers shows, including Transformers Prime, Transformers Rescue Bots Academy, and even Robots in the Skies 2015. So she has a good mix of both light and dark content. And while yes, Rise of Ninja Turtles as well is also kind of like a lighter show in terms of Teenage Ninja Turtles shows, but my mind, the 2012 show was the darkest in my opinion. Definitely, I think Rise of Ninja Turtles and Prime definitely had their mixes of light and dark moments, so I don't think you have to worry about Transformers EarthSpark being overtly cute. And especially as someone who said the same thing, I was worried about that happening with Transformers Cyberverse, and seeing as how utterly wrong I was with that, I'm sure that Transformers EarthSpark is definitely going to have its darker moments, even though it's on Nickelodeon and not Cartoon Network. Alongside Ant Ward and Nicole Dubug, we also know that Dale Malinowski, who co-created Rise of Ninja Turtles with Ant Ward, will also be serving as executive producer. On top of that, we also have Ciro Nieli, the creator of 2012 Ninja Turtles, and if you remember a show from the early 2000s called Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, which I was a huge fan of back in the day, he created that as well. He also, I believe, helped out a bit on the original Teen Titans, so honestly, I feel like this Transformers EarthSpark team is in really good hands with all these great executive producers on several really good cartoons in the past 20 years. I think EarthSpark's going to be in really good hands. But in terms of executive producers, the only other person who we knew of at the time was working the show was one of the writers, and we know that is May Cat. Now, if you don't know who May Cat is, she was actually one of the head writers on Transformers Cyberverse throughout its entire 4-season run. She mostly wrote a lot of episodes in seasons 2 and 3, mostly ones that were directed on Starscream, like I Am the AllSpark. I believe the End of the Universe arc and the Battle for Cybertron arc she helped co-write alongside Gavin Hignight. And she also wrote a few episodes of the finale of the War for Cybertron Netflix series, which was part 3 called Kingdom, I believe. So May Cat, honestly, I'm a fan of her work. Well, some of her work I'm not too fond of, like I Am the AllSpark. She definitely does have knows exactly what to bring to Transformers. So I am happy to see her on the list of people here. Along with that, we also knew who at the time was going to be animating Transformers EarthSpark, and that is an animation studio known as Icon Creative Studio. They are a Vancouver-based animation studio that has worked on, to my knowledge, just mostly a few small things. The biggest thing that they're working on actually is the upcoming Disney Plus series Monsters at Work, which is essentially going to be an office-style comedy that's a sequel to Monsters Inc., and that's something I'm really looking forward to. So it's interesting to see that Icon Creative is going to be heading up Transformers EarthSpark, because their art style in EarthSpark reminds me a lot, actually, of, if you remember, a cartoon from the early 2010s called Max Steel that was on Disney XD. The art style of EarthSpark reminds me a lot of Max Steel, especially with the colors that the main character in EarthSparker, who I assume is the main character, actually has. Finally, rounding up that news that we got back in February of last year, we also got a short little plot summary of the show stating that the new Transformers show, which we now know as EarthSpark, will be 26 episodes long, consist of 26 half-hour episodes, so they'll be 22 to 25 minutes long as opposed to the 10-minute episodes we got with Cyberverse. Those episodes will focus on a new species of Transformers that live on Earth and will have to find their place and purpose in the world amongst Autobots, Decepticons, and the human family that adopts them. So at first, when I read this all the way back in 2021, I thought this was going to be some sort of Beast Wars reboot. We were going to be seeing sort of a new take on Maximals and Predacons, and basically have them find their place amongst Autobots and Decepticons. But according to the official reveal that Paramount and Nickelodeon gave for Transformers EarthSpark yesterday, that is definitely not the case. So we got a lot of cool things to talk about with this. But first off, I think it's the best place to start is with the official plot summary for EarthSpark, which is straight from a interview done with Animation Magazine. So the summary of Transformers EarthSpark reads: Transformers EarthSpark from Nickelodeon Hasbro Entertainment, which will launch globally in fall of 2022, introduces a new generation of Transformers robots, the first species of Transformers to be born on Earth. Together with the human family who adopts them, they'll redefine what it means to be a family. So that sort of kind of further elaborates on what we heard about a year ago, that was going to be about a new species of Transformers, with the humans living with a new human family that has to find their place in the world amongst Autobots and Decepticons. And honestly, I think I was really worried about this premise at first, but after reading it and seeing the trailer here, I am super excited for that. And that's also part of who is actually the art director for Transformers EarthSpark, which I am super excited by. So in case you haven't heard it yet, one of the lead character designers for Transformers EarthSpark, if not the head art director for Transformers EarthSpark, is none other than Nick Roche. Now, for anyone who doesn't know who Nick Roche is, he was one of the biggest, and currently still is actually, one of the biggest artists for the IDW Transformers comics, which unfortunately you haven't heard, IDW will be losing the Transformers license later this year. But Nick Roche has been absolutely amazing with his artwork throughout the past almost 20 years of Transformers comics. He's done a lot of great stuff, such as Last Stand of the Wreckers, the first 25 issues of More Than Meets the Eye, the whole Wreckers saga, and even a few other stuff like Maxim Dinobots and Spotlight Megatron. I'm honestly a huge fan of Nick Roche's work, and his character design really shows in the characters that we see here in Transformers EarthSpark, especially in these screenshots and the actual brief, like, 10-second trailer we get for Transformers EarthSpark here that Nickelodeon posted on their official Twitter. So, I just want to take a look to admire, like, this very first screenshot from the EarthSpark that Hasbro Nickelodeon released. It's of who I assume to be are the two main characters of EarthSpark, these two Earthborn Transformers. We have the white and blue one here with the red and black one behind them. And we see that the two of them are looking at these two human kids who are, I assume, are talking to their mother. And honestly, especially with the Transformer designs here, and as we'll see later on in the actual trailer, their faces heavily scream that this is, like, Nick Roche inspired. Like, especially with how big their eyes are and, like, their elongated noses. That's, like, Nick Roche's distinct style. And I'm just gonna maybe throw some, like, screenshots of Nick Roche's work on various other, like, Transformers comics just so you can compare the two. It's really obvious just how much, like, the character designs in Transformers EarthSpark were inspired by Nick Roche's design. I absolutely love that. As someone who actually, I remember back in New York Comic Con 2018 and 2019, I actually picked up a few commissions from Nick Roche myself. I got these two right here of back in the day of Prowl from the IDW comics, and Clementine, of course, drawn in his style. And even the way, if you look at my commission of how I got him to draw Clementine, his art style of how he draws Clementine even is really similar to how the human characters look in Transformers EarthSpark. I see him mostly in the human boy here, and especially who I assume is his mother in this one screenshot. Their faces look very similar to how Nick Roche draws humans in his comics, and again, just super excited for all of this, that to have Nick Roche be one of, if not the art director on Transformers EarthSpark is absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to see what he brings to this show, especially considering that a lot of Nick Roche's work in the Transformers comics is really brutal, and I mean super brutal. Like, literally, Last Stand of the Wreckers is essentially the Suicide Squad of the Transformers IDW comics. So to see him go from that to a more kid-friendly show like EarthSpark here, it's going to be a bit jarring to say the least, but it does give me hope, though, as well, that EarthSpark will have a few darker moments, if not at least have some sort of, won't just be totally sunshine and rainbows, and will occasionally dip into dark stuff like Cyberverse did. Now after that, I just want to go ahead and just do a little brief, like, rundown analysis of what we can see from the Earth Wars teaser, and, or not Earth Wars, EarthSpark teaser, but it's really brief, and so much stuff happens that it's kind of hard to, essentially understand what's going on, but there is a few things we can learn here. There's one thing that interests me here is the very first shot of this trailer, and we see, like, based off the white and blue color scheme, which, by the way, further looks like Max Steel, considering that was literally Max Steel's color scheme down to a T. We have this, who I assume is our main Transformers character. I'm not sure if he's in a forest or in some sort of cave. It's kind of hard to tell. The top right, the foliage and lighting there seems to make me think that it's some sort of tree or forest, but we'll have to wait and see. So we see this character falling, presumably, like, down, either, like, through the trees or down this cave, before he suddenly transforms into this red and yellow, like, quad-rotor drone of sorts. But here's the thing, though. It's interesting that he goes from a white and black and blue color scheme to a red and yellow one. When we see back in the very first screenshot here of, like, high-definition screenshots for EarthSpark, the Transformers standing behind, who I assume is our main character here, they also have a red and yellow design. So is this essentially a Transformer that splits into two distinct people? Or is this perhaps, is the red and yellow character perhaps has ability to change their colors as well, and maybe also can go into this blue and white design that the main character has here? I'm confused by that, but considering that if you look closely at this character before he transforms, you can see he's got these blue biolights on his shoulder pads and, like, thighs that the same character has in the main screenshot here, where they're with the red and black Transformer with the 3 humans here. It's really odd, but another thing that I'm really interested in is the fact that in this screenshot, the white and blue Earthborn Transformers, I'm going to call them, looks a lot older than the one we see here in this trailer. So is this a brand new character? Are these 2 different characters in total? Or is perhaps the character we're seeing in the trailer a younger version of the Earthborn Transformers we see in the first screenshot, and that perhaps maybe these Earthborn Transformers have a faster growth rate compared to humans? Maybe like we'll see in the very first episode, maybe like the first 5 minutes will be about basically the humans, or the 2 human kids discovering him as he's like freshly newborn, which is how he looks in this trailer. And then maybe we'll cut forward to a few years or even a few months later where he's a lot more grown up. Who knows exactly with that? I have no idea. After that, there is this brief shot of a character that doesn't show up in any of the 3 screenshots from Transformers EarthSpark, and we have this character just roll out, like do a little wheel out in a motorcycle all mode, and you can see like he's actually got like a built-in sidecar into their like alt mode, which I think is really cool, considering that as far as I know, we've never really seen a Transformers character who transforms into a motorcycle have like a sidecar built into their alt mode. So I think that's really cool, and I love the pose like he makes, like the fluidity of his transformation as he transforms out of it. Now Nick Roche actually tweeted out on his Twitter that he personally designed and created this character. So obviously, despite the fact that he does have a white color scheme, he is not the same character we saw that was falling in the beginning of this trailer, or the more grown-up version of that character we saw in the very first screenshot. This is a whole third new character that we haven't seen before, that I am interested to see what his whole deal is, especially considering that even though he has a white color scheme like the white and blue one, he has orange highlights, and it seems like he's got like some sort of like aviator, like racing goggles built into his head that kind of differentiates him from the other one. Now there's also one more interesting thing here, as like we see like the kid character reaching out to our main Transformers character, who again, with this more closer shot of the kid's hand reaching out to touch the other Transformer, you can tell on his face he looks a lot younger than how he looks in the other screenshot we saw. So it really makes me think that that this is going to be some sort of early thing where he's maybe like just newly born in this little clip that we're seeing, and then like we're gonna jump forward 5 minutes into the episode, maybe like a year or 2 later, where he's mostly grown up now. That could be it. But the interesting thing here is when the kid is talking to presumably this guy, he says that like he's excited that he's actually meeting a Transformer. Now, this is something that's really interesting, considering that in most Transformers franchises, they're never actually referred to as Transformers. The only one I can actually think of that they're called Transformers is the original G1 cartoon and the Bayverse films. Those are the ones that actually call Cybertronians Transformers, or the humans call them Transformers, I should say. So, and obviously, since this kid apparently knows what Transformers are, obviously that means that the Transformers sort of have an established identity in the EarthSpark continuity, that they're not like undercover like they were in the beginning of Cyberverse, Transformers Prime, the beginning of the Bayverse trilogy, or the IDW comics, and so on. So that kind of sets us up to me like sort of like the Transformers Animated, or even Rescue Bots, where the Transformers in those shows were well known by all the humans, so they know like what to expect from them. So perhaps in EarthSpark's continuity, the Transformers, both Autobots and Decepticons, have been on Earth for several years, maybe at least a few months, so the kids here are aware of who they are. Now, finally, for the last like 3 seconds of this trailer, we get like a bunch of new designs for old characters that confirm a few new characters, like old characters, I should say, that are going to be returning. So the first shot we have here after we see like the kid reaching out to like touch the newborn Transformer is we have this shot of all characters, Alita 1 shooting at what appears to be some sort of like robotic bug or something, maybe like it's some sort of early Insecticon. And I gotta say, here Alita 1's design is pretty cool, and it's great to see Alita 1 again in a Transformers cartoon, considering the last, if you don't count the Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy, the last time Alita 1 has actually been in a Transformers cartoon was all the way back in Transformers Animated over 10 years ago. So Alita 1 has been desperately in need of being in another Transformers cartoon, so I'm glad to see her again. Although, in this shot, well, actually, I'll talk about that later on when we get to the other character in that screenshot. After Alita 1, we get this very blink-and-you'll-miss-it shot of Bumblebee actually shooting at, presumably, and you can see, like, the brief frame before Bumblebee actually shoots, it appears as though he has, there's, like, some sort of, like, the Insecticon or some sort of, like, tiny Decepticon creature in the top right corner that Bumblebee blasts away. It's really, really hard to see, but interesting to considering that we actually get a proper look at Bumblebee here, even though it's only from the back. It's interesting to see that Bumblebee's design is heavily inspired by his G1 design. So, for the most part, it seems as though Nickelodeon is sticking to the, like, more generic G1 designs for their Transformers for EarthSpark, which is, I will say, is a little bit disappointing. I was hoping that the characters would have more unique designs, but considering that the new Earthborn Transformers definitely look a lot more unique and don't look super blocky like most G1 characters do, I am happy about that. At least the new characters will have, like, their own unique visual style to them. But it is a little bit disappointing to see that the Autobots and most likely the Decepticons in the show will be featuring, like, traditional G1 designs as opposed to more, like, alternate takes like what Prime, Animated, and even Cyberverse to a degree did. Even though Cyberverse was G1 inspired to a degree, I feel like Cyberverse did have its, like, own unique spin on stuff. But after the shot of Bumblebee, we do get a shot of another new character, and that is who I assume to be is the two human kids' mother. She's armed with, like, some sort of, like, laser rifle shooting at something. It's like there's all these explosions going on around her. But if you look at the, like, little, like, red tinted windows that are above her as she's shooting, they look like to be the same windows that Alita 1 is seen blasting. Sorry, my tongue is stuck here. At this little Insecticon spider looking thing. So are she and Alita 1 here battling these like some Insecticons or Decepticons? Maybe this is like immediately after her kids discover the Earthborn Transformers in this underground cave. That perhaps maybe the entrance to the cave inside this warehouse. They go in there, they find the Earthborn Transformers, but end up discovering, like, accidentally releasing all these Insecticons, so Alita 1 and their mom come in to rescue them. That could be the case, but I don't know. And then the last shot here is a close-up of Optimus, presumably in front of some sort of explosion. There's nothing really, like, interesting we can say about this shot, aside from Optimus' design. Optimus' design here, I'm not gonna lie, is a little bit weird, because just with how it looks like Optimus' face is just so stretched out that his chin is just huge. Like, I'm talking about, like, Sentinel Prime animated levels of, like, huge chin here. That it just feels so weird to see Optimus' face just so stretched out. But then, that's really all we can see. Like, just get a clear look at Optimus' design here. So, honestly, that's all we can tell from the Transformers EarthSpark, like, short little teaser trailer here. I'm sure we'll be getting, like, a proper trailer maybe sometime this summer, but this is all we've got now for, like, probably the next few months, so I'm happy that we've got this much at least. Now, before we close this video, I just want to talk about two more screenshots that were shown for Transformers EarthSpark alongside that first one I showed you of the two Earthborn Transformers interacting with the human family that presumably was going to adopt them. The first one here I want to talk about is this shot here of Optimus and Alita, presumably looking down at either the Earthborn Transformers or maybe the human kids. The interesting thing here with Optimus and Alita's designs is, apart from the fact that they're heavily G1 inspired, especially with Alita's one's face here, heavily screams big Nick Roche design with her eyes and nose especially. The big thing here I want to talk about is the Autobot insignias that are on Alita 1's chest and Optimus' shoulders here. And they're unlike any other Autobot insignias we've seen before in another Transformers show. They're mostly well seen on Optimus' left shoulder here. But you can also see it's on Alita's chest right here under her chin and then on Optimus' left shoulder as well. You can see the Autobot logo here on Optimus' chest, but it's covered in what appears to be some sort of other brown circle. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this symbol resembles the Maximal logo or even the Predacon logo to a degree, so maybe that there's some sort of Beast Wars influence going on with EarthSpark. But to me, I feel like it'd be interesting if this is just a whole new thing. Maybe this is just a brand new design for the Autobots insignia that is going to be involved with EarthSpark, that EarthSpark will be inventing this sort of new branch of Autobots that perhaps use this insignia. Or maybe it's to designate, like, positions in, like, the galaxy as to where they are. Maybe this symbol here that's on Optimus and Alita is what stands for Earthborn Autobots, or maybe just Autobot stations on Earth, and maybe someone that's stationed on, like, let's say Cybertron or Caminus or the Moon maybe will have a different insignia. We'll have to wait and see, but it is interesting to see just what the story behind these new Autobot insignias are going to be. The last screenshot, though, is of our 2 human protagonists holding this glowing green orb in a cave of some sort. So you can actually see Cybertronian text behind the boy's head. I can't exactly read it properly, but the interesting here is what exactly they're grabbing, and they look almost shocked as this is what they're seeing. So I believe this is probably what we're going to see happen in the very first episode of EarthSpark, and what we saw in the trailer of the 2 of them seeing the younger white and blue Earthborn Transformer transform and, like, freaking out, like, getting all excited about meeting them. So with this green orb, could this essentially be the titular EarthSpark? Is this essentially going to be the AllSpark, or an alternate version of the AllSpark that essentially was created on Earth and can create new life? So perhaps maybe when the 2 kids are out here just exploring the cave, they find a spark, they touch it, and maybe they actually create the Earthborn Transformer. Maybe that's it. Or perhaps maybe they just go to touch it and they find the Earthborn Transformer already there. Maybe they're defending it or something like that. But considering the looks of shock on the boy and the girl's faces, maybe upon touching it, they'll awaken the Insecticons we saw Alita 1 and presumably their mother battling in the teaser trailer. Maybe that this is some sort of, like, ancient artifact that the Insecticons are protecting. They try to go ahead and take it from them. It's kind of hard to say, but my thoughts is, considering the show is literally called EarthSpark, I believe this may be the titular EarthSpark and is, like, perhaps maybe some sort of alternate AllSpark, like, relic that can create life for Transformers with the energy of the Earth. But that is going to be doing it for this review on essentially everything you need to know about Transformers EarthSpark, the brand new Transformers cartoon coming from Nickelodeon and Icon Creative Studios that will be launching this fall in 2022 on Nickelodeon and presumably on Paramount Plus as well. I am really, really excited for this show, probably more than I was for Cyberverse, but honestly, I wasn't that excited for Cyberverse. I ended up loving that show. Considering that I'm really excited for EarthSpark, does that mean I'm going to love EarthSpark even more than Cyberverse? Who knows, but I'm really digging the character designs. I love that Nick Roche is going to be one of the main artists on Transformers EarthSpark. I love the premise of the show about these new Earthborn Transformers living with a human family trying to find their place in the world. It's going to be kind of like a mix between Rescue Bots and animated in that sense, so I'm excited for that. And I really can't wait to see when we get more about this show. So if you're excited for Transformers EarthSpark as much as I am, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.